tribe in Australia whose language relies heavily on cardinal direction.
Back when I lived in Kenya, I spent a few weeks living in a very rural village called Bodo on the coast that had no running water or electricity. I was sitting on the stoop of our compound with my homestay mother one day, just chatting in Swahili, and I realized I forgot my watch in the house. And so without even thinking, I asked, "What time is it?" As soon as the words left my mouth, I knew it was a dumb question because nobody really used watches or clocks there. They just kind of paid attention to how many hours into the day, like actual daylight they were. So imagine my surprise when my homestay mother kind of looks around, realizes that we're sitting in the shade, and so she gets up, walks out into the middle of the street, looks up at the sun, looks back down at her own shadow, up at the sun, back down at her own shadow again, looks over at me and says, "It's 3 o'clock." I was so impressed by this, I immediately ran into the house, got my watch, checked. Sure enough, it was like 2:54. Now, Swahili is like English when it comes to talking about directions. We talk about directions in relation to ourselves. It's called relative directional reckoning. But there are many languages in the world, not just the Australian Aboriginal one that the original poster commented about, but many languages in the world that do what's called absolute directional reckoning. They pay attention to the directions independent of their relationship to the speaker. And yet, even though Swahili uses relative directional reckoning, like English, speakers of Swahili in certain rural areas are capable of knowing exactly what direction anything is at any given point in time, because they're so intimately familiar with their local surrounding. This isn't a case of language influencing the way we think. It's probably the other way around. It's a case of languages evolving to reflect the social norms of constantly being attentive to the local environment. Languages are extremely good at finding efficient ways to convey pieces of information that speakers need to use regularly. If you live in a community where you're regularly talking about certain types of directions, then you might expect that over time, the language is going to develop really refined and fast ways of talking about those concepts. A really good book about different ways that languages talk about time or direction is When Languages Die by K. David Harrison, so you can check that out at the Linguistic Discovery website. Or if you want to learn more about how language works, hit the follow button for another fun linguistic adventure.